Hey guys, and welcome to a Windows Phone 8 tutorial. I had a message on YouTube asking for me to create an application for Windows Phone 8 which would be settings in a page, so you could pass data to and from a page that people can kind of choose their information. So this would be useful, for example, on an application that maybe has background music and you want the user to be able to choose whether or not they want to have background music or not. Or you might even use it to choose a colour theme for the app, so people could change the colour of the backgrounds or the text and things like that. So it was pretty simple to make using the isolated storage. So the first thing we've got on the main page, if you look here, just let the designer load. Okay, so the first thing we have here is we have I've got just a general background, and then I've got a stack panel. Now the stack panel, I use this because it means as you reveal or unreveal things, for example, if I make this text block visible, oh, it's visible, where is it? There's one that's not. So if I make this visible, the stack panel will automatically extend itself to allow for the text block. So it just makes it ideal for this this solution. So then here we have a few bits. We've got the text blocks, we've got the label, a date, a time, a different label for message of the day, you'll see that in a minute, and then a message of the day text block as well. What we've got down the bottom is a change settings button. Now when they click on this button, they will be taken over to the settings page. Now here in the settings page we have three options. We have a tick to show the date, tick to show the time, tick to show the MOTD, which would be the message of the day, and then a box to enter a message of the day. Now these obviously can be, you could make these whatever you wanted to make them, but because I'm just trying to show the use of the settings pages, I've just used simple things like the date, the time and things like that. So then back on the main page here, you'll see that when the app starts, if it doesn't contain the date field, then it will automatically add to the app settings a date, a time and an MOTD kind of string. And what this will do is this will make sure that the application can never try looking for something that doesn't exist. So to start off with, when your application's first made, everything will be set to false and nothing will be shown. Now once they've changed their settings and they've clicked save and they've gone back to this main page, it will do some checking. So it will check for the app settings date and it will put it to the string, and if it's true, then it will put the date text block, and they'll set it to date and then the date time .now to shorten date string, so that will actually put the date out, and then we make it visible. We set its visibility to visible to make it appear. If it's not, then it will just make sure it's collapsed. So that means if it was open before, it will close it to make sure that it's no longer there. Same goes for the rest of it. So time and the MOTD. The MOTD is slightly different because if it's not false, then we'll set the text of the MOTD block. So basically, if it's got, in this situation, the time and the date can just be true or false, because those will then be done this end with the date time now and the shortened time string and the short date string. But the message of the day, that's going to carry the string that we wanted to display. So if it's not false, then it means there's something else in there. It could be anything that the user has written on the settings page. So what we have to do is we have to set the text of that block to the app settings MOTD to string. Then we make it visible, and then we make the label to TB visible, because that's the one that's going to say message of the day and tell them what the text below actually is. If it isn't false, if it's false, then it will collapse everything and make sure they can't see any of it. So we'll go back over the settings page now. Now the settings page, when it's loaded, it will check again for the same things that the other page was looking for. If the date was already selected, then when they go to the settings page, they'll see the date was already ticked and they can untick it. Just this means that they can see what isn't already enabled and make sure that it's, they don't try to disable something that was already disabled. And then the final thing is the save button. So once the user has flicked around with their settings on the screen, they've clicked save. It will check if the date CB, which is, if you look here, we've got a date CB, so it's just a checkbox. It will check if the checkbox is checked, and if it's true, then it will remove the date field from the app settings and it will re-add it with the string of true. Then otherwise, if it's not selected, then it will remove it and then set it to false. And this goes the same for the rest except for the MOTD. So the message of the day it will remove it if it's true. So if they've ticked it, then it means they're going to want to show the message of the day, which they can write in this box below. So if it's been checked to true, then we have to remove it from the app settings, re-add it, but this time rather than adding true or false, we're going to actually add the MOTDTB text, which is this thing here, which is a text box. So anything they enter into there will be added to the app settings, which can then be read on the main page. So then again, obviously if it's not true, then they want to set it to false so it doesn't get displayed, and then finally it will make them go back to the other page because they've clicked change settings. So now I'll put this application into motion. That might have seemed a bit confusing, but I will add a link to the in the description to download this application so you can play around with it yourself. So what we'll do is we'll see we've got nothing here. If we go change settings, we'll just add the date for now and save that, and now you can see the date has arrived in American format. And if you add the time, you can now see the time is there. We can actually just take the date out. As you can see, these are updating, so if I remove it and there's only one tick on this page, we've just got the time now. We go back and we can see we just have the time. So then we can tick message of the day and type in hello, add a little smiley face, and if we save that setting, you'll now see the message of the day has arrived and it says hello. So I hope that helps when it comes to making changes with settings. I mean, this was just an example that you just use another page to set settings with the application settings, and then you can use your little custom strings and things that you put in, for example like one I've called MOTD or time or date. You can make them whatever you want, call it font color, and then you can just check it back on another page, see what color they selected, red, green, blue, and then change the font that way. So I hope that helped making a settings page. If you have any questions, go ahead and chuck them into the comments below, or get in touch with me. There's plenty of ways to do it. You've got Twitter and all sorts. So don't forget to subscribe, check out my Patreon page, and I'll see you in the next video, guys.